Welcome to the Cycle Coach Show.
Empowering conversations on menstrual cycle coaching.
We're your hosts, Claire Baker
and Lauren Olivia Hughes. Welcome to the Cycle Coach Show. I'm so excited to be back recording. And for my first episode back, I have a familiar face, and that is Nat Daudet. She is the owner of the Fertility Awareness Project and the co-founder of the Fertility Knowledge Collective. So she's covering all her bases in the fertility awareness world. She's absolutely brilliant. And she's also a mentor at the Cycle Coach School. So we are huge fans through and through. All right, welcome back, Nat Daudet. I'm so excited you're here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. Okay, to start us off, we're going to do a cycle check-in. So what cycle day are you on and how is that feeling so far?
I'm on day 18 and I feel very resilient today. Yesterday I was feeling really down in the dumps and really luteal. And today I woke up and I was like, today is gonna be a good day. So I like started the workout. I'm like, we're gonna feel good today. I wash my hair, which always helps. And then it's so sunny and nice out today, which really helps. So I just was hanging out with my niece and we were sitting in the backyard and we were going for a walk. And so I feel very refreshed today. I feel really good.
So wonderful. How the simple things, like a sunny day, fresh hair, just resets the brain.
100%.
Oh, that's beautiful. I literally checked my cycle app before I logged on because I was like, I wonder what it says. And I'm cycle day 601. And you'll love this. My app says, well, because I'm postpartum, I'm 10 months postpartum. So I just haven't had a period since a million years ago. But I did laugh because my period app says I'm in my luteal phase. I was like, good. It's like, you must be by now.
The longest luteal phase ever. Yeah. I mean, that's almost 2 years now.
Yeah, my last period crazy. Was on my wedding anniversary. So September 27th, 2024.
There you go.
Fun times. Anyway, I'm so excited to have you back. You're on season 1 with Nat Martin talking about irregular cycles and long cycles and how to coach women with them. And I really wanted to have you back because during my maternity leave, I was still creeping on the internet and following you on Instagram, Fertility Awareness Project. And just so in awe of all the projects that you're bringing to life, the podcast you had with Lucia of Ambrose's Table, and just all the fun you seem to be having in your business. And so I'd love to get deep into the workings because I know you're a Virgo sun. I know there's structures and systems. And I know it's not just a highlight reel on your Instagram of oh, I'm at the cottage. I know you're actually at the cottage and fully disconnected. So I'm wondering if we could start at the very beginning of how you came up with the idea of Fertility Awareness Project. How many years ago was that?
That would be, I think I started my Instagram account in 2017, I believe. And then in 2018, I finished my FEM certification, which I know you've also done.
Yeah.
And then I was working as a social worker in mental health. I became very burnt out. And I was also just sharing about becoming a fertility awareness educator on my page. And then during the pandemic, I went back and did my MSW. And
what's it
while I was
sorry,
my Master of Social Work.
Oh, okay.
It was all virtual and I was had more time to work on my business. And then I just never really went back. So I was there was a point where I was I could get another job, but I think I can do this full time. And that like having the bridge of like being in school and like kind of trying to do this was really helpful. And then um yeah, I just didn't go back after that. And so slowly over time, kind of like just shared about my passion for ovulation charting and fertility awareness, and also like sharing a lot about my own cycle too, which has been a journey that like we talked about last time. And joined cycle coach school in 2020, which was I think also like a really helpful like way to, I don't know, like hone in on how I wanted to teach.
Mm,
And I initially joined cycle coach school because I was like, I want to be a therapist and like integrate menstrual cycle awareness
mm,
into therapy with women. But I found like my niche or like my passion really just isn't like the nitty gritty, and like the Virgo sun really comes out where I like really like to know like the practicalities of fertility charting and like
mm,
make it really clear and understandable for people. And I've been charting to avoid pregnancy for 10 years. So that's like kind of how I came into fertility awareness.
mhm,
And it's just like something that I can't imagine not doing. It's um just so helpful to
mhm,
know, like, as we know, where we are in our cycles, but also, like, to know when I'm ovulating too.
mm,
Um, yeah, and then in, like, 2023 or no, 2023, 2022, I started Fertility Knowledge Collective, where we started, like me and myself and Tammy Stroud, who's another fertility awareness educator. We started teaching FAM educators, and that's kind of how we got to where we are today.
mm. All right. So that's kind of your journey of how you became certified, how you landed where you are now. Where did that curiosity initially begin for you? Where you're like, I want to learn how to chart for birth control.
Mhm. Well, I remember a friend lending me, I don't know which book it was, but like teaching me about the phases of the cycle because I'd always like circled my period start date on a calendar
Mm,
and was starting to just like vaguely pay attention to my cycle.
mm,
And then I was like at a point of looking into getting on birth control. And it's like, if I'm gonna be responsible and sexually active, I need to be on birth control because it's
mm,
like what I learned when I was like
um,
in high school. It's like everyone goes on birth control.
mhm,
And I just like was looking at all my options, and it was my family doctor who was like, "What's wrong with condoms? Like, just use condoms if you don't want to be on birth control." I was like, "Really? Like,
mm,
that's safe and like reliable?" And she's like, "Yeah, like as
mhm,
long as you're using them right, like you use condoms." And then she's like, "There's also this class that you can take, this natural family planning class." And I was
mm,
like, "Really? Like, this seems weird. It's like kind of religious."
mm,
But I like checked it out, and they're talking about like giving back rubs in the fertile window and like tracking ovulation. I was just like, this is so
That's
weird,
really
but
cute.
so cool. And like I understand now like more about Catholic natural family planning, and like I was like, why were we never taught how to chart ovulation and that we
Mhm,
ovulate? Like I was only ever taught about my period.
mhm,
And so it was like it came out of like wanting birth control, but I think like now it's just become so much more like I think like yeah, I just like knowing what's going on
mhm,
with my body at all times. And I think that's the thread that like
mhm,
really appealed to me about fertility charting. But when I learned about it, I was still, I think, really skeptical. It's like,
mhm.
really? This
Well,
seems strange.
yeah, and I love that GP who is just like, "Hi, there's options," because I think a lot of women,
Yes.
myself included, don't encounter that, or I had the opposite experience of, like, a GP asking what I was using, and I was said, like, a fertility awareness method, and she was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Okay." So I explained it to her, and she's like, "That sounds complicated." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "Let me know when you wanna go
Yeah.
back on the pill." I was like, "Great,
You're like, for sure.
great.
I know.
Probably won't be back."
I know, I'm like, people, like, just need to tell their GPs that they use condoms. They're like, it's too complicated to
Yeah.
tell them that you use fertility awareness because, like, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
But there are some people who do. There's, like, the odd
Mm.
doctor who knows about it, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
No, that's brilliant. And so then is that so Fertility Knowledge Collective is your certification program that you created with Tammy, where you're kind of
Mhm.
combining the different methods of the fertility awareness umbrella, I suppose, because there's different methods, I suppose, or just like teachers within that space. Why did you feel like you needed to do that?
Great question. Um, I think I think, like, when you're in the fertility space or, like, if you're in the Facebook groups, people often say, like, "Learn a method of fertility awareness." Like, that's the
Mhm,
first step. You need to learn a method,
mhm,
and there's this lineage of traditional OG training institutes that some have done research on their methods and some haven't. A lot of the science kind of like comes from this original body of work. And
mhm,
then you have these like original institutes that are just like the classic ones that we think of, like Billings or Simto Pro, Creighton, like all of these, yeah, these institutes. And then, so like I trained with FEM and then I also trained with Billings, which is like one of those, you know, traditional Catholic
mhm,
training programs. And the research and the science is so sound. And at the same time, those institutes can be so rigid in like, if you don't fit this exact chart criteria, you can't confirm ovulation. And so I was going to Tammy with questions, being like, how do I handle this? Like, how do I be like responsible when teaching, but also give people options? And I think like a lot of people learning fertility awareness want to know the why behind like different rules. Like when we're
mhm,
thinking about opening the fertile window, we want to know why like taking charge of your fertility says use dry days, why Billings use cervical mucus only rules, why NFPTA uses a combination of like cervical mucus and calculations. Like everybody is doing something different.
mhm,
And I think we all want to know why. Like, why is that?
mhm,
And so that's kind of how we started is we just like went into the evidence for people and like Tammy is so smart and she knows so much and like she'll just like I don't know, she has a lot of like experience that like I continually learn from, but she and I put everything together for people to like then go to their clients and say like, here's the evidence, make an informed choice.
mhm,
Like I want to help support you through weird chart scenarios.
mhm,
Um, and like we were like, one day we'll create like a teacher training program, but it felt so daunting.
mhm,
And we were just like, we're just going to teach FAM educators who are like already certified. And then eventually one day we were like, we were, we were making suggestions of like best practice for people to use with like
mhm,
temperature and cervical mucus, LH tests.
mhm,
And then one day we were just like, did we accidentally create a method? Because we have like these we have recommendations that we suggest people use and we're like, yeah, I think we just did
mhm,
create a method. And so it took us like 4 years to then be at a point where we're like, okay, we feel good about teaching people who don't yet have a background in another method.
mhm,
And it's been so fun. There's like a little bit of like fear of like, who are we to do this?
mhm,
And we also recognize that like a lot of modern methods are pulling from existing research or like pulling from the
mhm,
evidence. And we're doing it in like a very new way. And I'm like, we're just like, I don't know, we're just doing some really fun stuff. Like
mhm,
we just started our cohort and we're doing these nurture calls and we're inviting people, like we're inviting alumni to come in and be in the calls with the new cohort, which is really cool
mhm,
and like support each other and just like talk about how we're feeling. And like, I think um, a lot of like, there's a lot of fear around feeling like you need to know everything to teach fertility awareness or like
mhm,
feeling like you need to have all the answers. And we're all looking at each other going like, like you must know or like you must know. And it's like, no, we all like don't know
mhm,
everything. And so it's a space where we can all just, like, honestly show up and, like, ask questions in a safe space,
Mm.
and, like, I'm still telling my clients, like, "I have no idea." Like, I'm going to go to Fertility Knowledge Collective, I'm gonna go to Tammy, and I'm gonna, like, talk through it and come back to you.
Mhm.
Which I think makes, like, a really good fertility awareness educator when you can, like, see where your gaps are and then have
Mhm.
somewhere to go. So
Yeah.
that's kinda how it came about.
I love it though, because what you're describing is, I think, the evolution of these, like, training and coaching spaces, because I think for so long it was, person on pedestal, you want to become person.
Mhm.
And, like, everything they say is, like, the word, and it's just, like, now we're kinda getting into, like, this circle, it's more, like, matriarchal way of teaching where we're all, like, equal, and we're all coming in with experiences and answers and questions, and, of course, you and Tammy are, like, more than certified and more than, like, able to hold that container and, make sure there's boundaries and rules and whatever we need, the Virgo structure, if you will, but it's what a beautiful way of teaching to be like, "Okay, what are the problems you're finding? Let's work it out. Let's workshop it." Because I think that's
Yeah.
the next generation of teaching,
Mhm.
really.
100%. Yeah, we've been talking a lot about, like, decentering ourselves as the
Mm,
experts, and, like, a lot of the curriculum we've, like, recorded and developed is there for people to learn from, and then it's like, now we wanna try to resource our community and also, like, help people feel regulated enough to, like, not find the answers within themselves, because, like, obviously there's things they just don't know,
mhm,
but it's like, can we stop looking at Nat and Tammy to, like, have the answers for everything and, like, resource the community, which I think has been really cool, and it's
mhm,
also something I've been doing with my clients too, where it's like, I'll teach you the method, I'll teach you how to chart, I'll teach you, like, how to know when you're fertile and when you're not, but
mhm,
I've started just, like, trying to step out of the role of, like, constantly fixing or, like, constantly having the answers or constantly, like, needing to, like, respond so quick not respond so quickly because I don't want it to sound like I'm, like, a bad fam educator, but, like, ask people what they think about their own charts and, like,
mhm,
like, help them feel confident, because I think, like, so many of those questions come from this place of fear of not knowing their chart or not knowing their bodies or, like, feeling really panicked, and it's
mhm,
like, can we just, like, take a breath and, like, figure this out together instead
mhm,
of, like, constantly needing to, like, go outside of yourself to, like, find the
mhm,
answers?
mhm,
So, that's been, like, a big shift for our program, but also just, like, in my own teaching, and it just is, like, so like, for my nervous system, feels so much better, and, like,
mhm,
I can just kind of exhale and not, like, carry the weight of everything on my shoulders.
mhm.
Um,
And
yeah,
you're, like,
so
inadvertently kind of encouraging their nervous system to find safety and, like,
mhm.
sitting with their chart and being like, "Oh god," like you said, there's not that knee-jerk reaction to respond, which is beautiful, nice to have, like, space away from your laptop. I don't think anyone would think poorly of you for that, but beyond that, just, like, teaching them to have confidence and to be able to, like, look and be like, "Oh, maybe I do know," or maybe there's someone I can ask, like a friend that I've met through the course or whatever it is. Because I know, so obviously the Fertility Knowledge Collective, where you're teaching the new method, you have that space, but then I know also in your Cycle Love, where you're teaching women how to chart their cycles, like, from scratch, basically, that you also, if I'm not mistaken, have, like, a community with, like, mentors in it who can kind of answer questions for you as well. So how did you
Yeah,
integrate that part?
yeah. So, how it works now is, like, when I'm teaching fertility awareness, because there's this, like, big question around, like, structuring training programs, or it's like,
Mhm,
where is the line of support? Where does, like, the support start and end?
mhm,
And I think, like, for a lot of people who just, like, want to be in service to others, it's like that line never ends, and
mhm,
you start out being available forever. And, like, I used to have it so that people would, like, have unlimited lifetime support. because I felt like I was their birth control, and, like,
Mm,
I that is just a really problematic way to go about it.
mm,
Um, and so it was Tammy who, like, really modeled to me, like, "You are not somebody's birth control, like, that is just not a healthy way to go about doing this," and, like,
mm,
people always have, like, their primary care providers to, like, reach out to, and we want people to get to a place of, like, autonomous charting and, like, feeling like they can interpret their own charts.
mhm,
So I then and then the other thing too is, like, when you're doing a course, you wanna have this, like, contained timeline for people to take advantage and, like, make the most of the space.
mhm,
So when I switched from making it evergreen to, like, a 6-month support, then I felt like I was inviting people in to, like, make the most of it for 6
mhm,
months and be like, "Go all in and, like, take advantage of everything that's available to you," and, like, the lessons are available for as long as Cycle Love exists, so you can go back,
mm,
but if you wanna message me with your questions, that's a 6-month commitment,
mm,
and after that point, people move into an alumni group similar to how we have a cycle coach,
mhm,
and I don't like I'm in there, but I don't put pressure on myself to, like, moderate it, it's fully peer supported. And I used to have mentors, but now it's just, like, full full peer support mode, and I'm
mhm.
actually thinking of switching my platform. I was in Mighty Network, but they're like, "Features are not available to people in the UK." They're like, "You can't join if you're in the UK."
Oh,
So I was like, "Okay, it's time to change things up." So I think that's also a part where, like, for me, I was like, I can never change anything, like, if I said it was gonna be forever, it has to be forever,
mm,
and, like, yeah, just
yeah,
allowing things to evolve and change, and I think it works better and then if people want, like, a one-on-one call with me, they can always, like, pay to have that once they've, like, gone through Cycle Lab, they
mm,
can join and get a one-on-one. And so that system has worked really well, but it was like a little it's always hard to go feel like you're going back on what you said or like feel like you're changing something that you once promised people.
mhm,
But I think people understand that like it can't be the same forever. So
mm.
yeah, that's how it works right now.
Yeah, change is inevitable. So
Yeah.
how did you work through the discomfort of that? Of, like, being like, "Actually, this is not gonna be" like, was there any pushback? Was there any, like did anyone know?
Well, I think it was actually working with you, honestly, for coaching. I feel like
Oh.
we did talk a lot about that, where it was like,
Oh.
this yeah, I think you were like, "Nat, this is ridiculous, like, you cannot let people have this much access to you," or, like,
Mm,
"You need to have some boundaries in place," and so, I think there, like, is always just, like, a little nudge, a little question that
uh-huh,
you have to follow and explore and, like,
uh-huh,
um remember that, like, your business is not chasing like, nobody's chasing after you, like,
mm,
you
yeah,
know, like, nobody is out to get you. You can just, like, let your system, like, settle and,
mm,
just chill out. Like,
mhm,
it wasn't there was no pushback from anybody. It was, like, fine.
mhm,
Um, but yeah.
mm. So from starting this, like, Instagram account to obviously building it, at what point or have you maybe always felt this way? At what point did you feel like you could invite in collaborations or welcome external opinions? Or have you always been someone who's kind of loved that collaborative space?
Like, in what way do you mean?
Well, just in I think sometimes, and maybe this is like from my own experience of like coming from the real estate world where it's like, gonna make it on your own. And I think it's maybe a little like
Mm,
like toxic patriarchy, a bit maybe that mentality of like, I'm gonna be the lone wolf and like build something up and you gotta make your name first and then you can do stuff with other people or ask for help or like even your relationship with Tammy is so beautiful. It seems like a mentoring relationship where you can like ask questions and receive that support. So has that always felt natural to you to kind of invite those relationships into your business?
yeah, I think honestly, I haven't really thought of that before, but I think it does come fairly naturally to me.
Mm,
I think, like, starting out and going through cycle coach school gave me a really positive experience of
mm,
collaborations where people were genuinely so supportive of one another and like it didn't feel competitive. It just felt very like we're all in our own lanes and like we all have our own expertise and we all benefit from like lifting each other up.
Mhm.
And so I think that like first cohort was so special too. Like we were just kind of like new and figuring it out together. So it's always felt very natural to me. Like I've done several, like I did a podcast with Lucia, but I also used to have a podcast with another fem educator. And like there's a couple of like fertility awareness, or there's one fertility awareness Facebook group for fem educators that like I feel like I became friends with people that way, and we just kind of like ask questions. And I think it does come from a place of like acknowledging like you don't know all the answers, that like
Mhm.
gives other people permission to be vulnerable too.
Mm.
And like I think that's maybe kind of where it started, where it's like I need help, like I need to hear from other people who've had other experiences, and then it just like allows people to be like, oh, I don't need to pretend or like have this mask up of like knowing everything.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it always kind of comes naturally to me, but I also don't collaborate with everybody. Like
Mhm.
I think you just have to have like a vibe sense of
Mhm.
who you align with and like who is in it for the right reasons, or like you just know, like you can just tell from
Mhm.
people, even online, I feel like.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worth being picky.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
I didn't see you enough.
Yeah,
I
you don't
don't
need
know.
to collaborate. You don't need to make everybody happy or collaborate with everybody, but I think like those programs that you're in are like great places to find meaningful relationships with people and like
Mhm.
just support each other and like yeah, have like a trusting relationship.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Alright, so you have well, up until recently, you had a very irregular cycle, but now you're, like, weightlifting and, like, feeling a bit more
I'm cured.
you're
Just
cured. Good. That's the end.
kidding.
That's the
Cured
end.
forever. Yeah, that's
Cured
the end.
forever, got
Yeah.
it. Um, no, but I'm curious to know because I know you have I don't know if you're in your office, but I know you have, like, a big brown paper calendar for, like, the whole it really stresses me out. You have a whole year calendar, constantly changing my mind, um, where you plan your year ahead, and so I'm
Mhm.
wondering 'cause obviously, like, is that, like, happen at a certain point in your cycle? Is that just, like, January 1, you're like, "Here's what I'm gonna do for the year." Like, how did that start? How does it land? Tell me
Mhm.
more.
Calendars. Love calendars. So, about November, I started thinking about the next year. I know. I know what programs I'm gonna launch. Like,
Mhm,
I have 3 launches of Cycle Love every year and have for years. So it's very much rinse and repeat.
mhm,
And then Fertility Knowledge Collective launches once a year, and it's really based around Tammy's family's birthdays because they all have like all of her kids' birthdays are in March. So we do it like March is like blocked off, and then it like happens after March.
'kay.
So that's like it's very it's gotten to be the same from year to year.
Mhm,
And then I will know kind of like where like, I will usually, like, go on a canoe trip in the summer or, like, go travel at some point, so I'll put that in. So it's, like, all the big rocks go in first.
mhm,
And then I will take note of things that I wish I would have remembered. So, like, Black Friday always sneaks up on me, and, like,
mhm,
American Thanksgiving always sneaks up on me, and so I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna put this in the calendar for next year." Or, like, oh, there was one other one recently where I was like, I need to email myself in August to start running ads for Cycle Love starting in September, or like
mhm,
just things that I will do in the moment and be like, I want to remember this for next year because like people were off or like unavailable or like this thing happened or this was a really good launch,
mhm,
and like seasonally try to kind of remember like summer is a really hard time to launch things, like people are just like away, and so I
mhm,
like try to avoid the summertime, or like that's kind of how I do it, and when I look at my calendars, then there's not that much
mhm,
planned out in the big calendar, like, it's just the big things,
mhm,
and then I will, like, draw it out in Jan, I will make a reel about it, and then I will put it on my wall, and then people will message me and be like, "Where'd you get this calendar?" And I'll be like, "Just watch the reel. I've done this
You're
tutorial
gonna
multiple
start
times for
selling
you."
them. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Tap the link.
So exactly. But, like, cycle-wise, it was pretty recently that I'm actually able to plan around my cycle.
Mhm,
Like, I feel like I now have a little fridge cycle guide on my fridge for the
mm,
first time ever because I actually feel like I can live cyclically in the classic way. And
mhm,
I know you're postpartum right now, so I know you understand, like,
yeah,
when you're in a long cycle, like, yeah, you do feel different,
mhm,
but it's not in the same way where you have 30-day cycles or and you're, like,
no,
moving through the phases every week. Like,
mm,
it's so different.
mhm,
Um, so I would say I don't really plan, like, intentionally, I don't really
mhm,
plan much around my cycle. My life just kind of trucks on,
mhm,
and then, like, I respond in the moment
mhm,
still, and I think that's because of so many years of, like, having irregular cycles.
mm. Yeah, I wonder if it was almost like a bit of a blessing at times because I think like, for me, like, when I had a regular cycle, sometimes it, like, almost, like, overcomplicated the plot to be like,
Mhm.
"When will I be bleeding?" It's like, "Okay, but, like, I'm
Yeah.
still doing stuff when I'm bleeding." Maybe not
Yep.
all the time, but, like, so you know what I mean? Like, to just kind of add that in and, like you said, have the big rocks in the calendar first to be like, "These are the things that are happening," and then obviously have a bit of, like, nuance and playfulness in the weeks in between
Yeah.
thing. So how did you arrive at, like, "I'm gonna launch Cycle Love 3 times a year. I'm gonna do fertility awareness, like, once a year." Like, how did you get to that? Was it trial by error? Like, what trial and error?
Yeah. Trial and error. Yeah, trial and error probably. I am very, like I'm the type of person that if I wanna take time off, I'm gonna do it. Like, work is not gonna stop me from doing the things that I wanna do.
Yep.
Like, I will make those things happen no matter what. I'll just take time off. So everything revolves around the summer that I wanna be off, because like
Mhm.
or, like, the trip that I wanna take. Like, that is that I will never say, "Oh, I can't go because 'cause I'm working." And so then I just kind of, like yeah, I tried launching quarterly. Like, I tried doing Cycle Love, launching that quarterly, and then I was like, "I just really want I don't wanna be launching, like, in the summer."
Mm,
And then Fertility Knowledge Collective is just a once a year. It's like it's gotta be once a year.
mhm,
Like, there's a lot of, like we do have mentors as like, a part of it, and, like, we are teaching a lot of that live. So, I think just, like, capacity-wise, that's just it's max capacity right now,
mm,
and then there will always be, like, workshops that lead up to, big launches, so I'll have, like, a free workshop or paid workshop leading up to a launch of Cycle Love, and then also this year for Fertility Knowledge Collective, we did a conference
mm.
which was new and, like, so much fun and also so much work, um, and it's, like, basically a bunch of, like, 9 workshops that we were selling, so I think it just has worked with over time, um, trialing things and also my creative capacity, like, how much can I reasonably do and still feel excited about it?
Mm,
And not burn out or, like, not feel like I'm running out of ideas. It's not even really burning out, it's just, like, wanting to, like, keep being excited about what I'm doing.
mm,
Um, so yeah, that's kind of how it all unfolded to what it is now.
mhm. And then on, like, a
Yeah.
smaller scale, I'm always, like, inspired by, like, the structure of, like, your week, especially, like, during launch weeks, and they've worked hard to, like, add pockets of joy kind of in the stress of launch maybe. But just even a regular week, how did you I feel like all my questions are like, "How did you get there? How did you get where you are?" Tell me everything. But how do
Yeah.
you, like, enter a week and you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna find, like, these times to work out. I'm gonna, like, meal prep or whatever it is, and also run
Mhm,
a successful business and kind of lock in when you need to. Because I feel like it can be so easy,
mhm.
especially when you work for yourself, work from home, to be like, I'm going to paint this room today or I'm going to vacuum. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a great question. How do I do it? Um, I genuinely love working.
Mm.
Like, I don't know if you saw the like new Devil Wears Prada
Yes.
at the end. Like Miranda Priestly was like, "I love working." I was like, I relate so hard to that. Like, I genuinely love making things,
Mm.
and I think that's like a brain thing. Like, I think that's maybe just like personality and like who I am. So I'm very like motivated when I wake up in the morning. I'm like, oh, there's these things that I want to work on.
Mm.
Obviously, my cycle plays a part of that. Like sometimes, like the last couple days, I've just like not wanted to
Mhm.
sit down and work. And the season plays a part in that. So I think having balance is really important for my system and like balancing out seasons of really pushing and doing launches and then having breaks.
Mhm.
I think that's really where like my map, like my calendar comes in, where I'm like spreading things out throughout the year. So I'm not having these times where I'm just like on and like go, go, go.
Mm.
It's like kind of this like ebb and flow of inhale and exhale and just like having breaks after big
Mm.
launches. And so same with my weeks where it's like, I won't really let work stop me from doing what I wanna do, and, like, obviously, there are times where, like, I do need to lock in and get shit
Yeah.
done, and obviously, it's not always fun, but I try to, like, manage my energy in a way where, like, working out plays a big part of that, where, like, now I'm in a routine of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 AM. I show up no matter what,
Mm.
and that is, like, such a nice way to start the day because otherwise, there is no start to the day. And then every other Monday, I do childcare for my niece, although today was Wednesday and it got mixed up to the day off. So, like, today was a typical day where it's like I work out and I take care of my niece from like 10:30 to 1:30, and then I get on this call with you at 2. And like, I probably won't work that much today. Like, I'll probably just do this and then I might work on, like, a workshop that I have next week, but I came up with the slides and the idea for it while I was on a walk
Mm.
yesterday night at, like, 9 p.m. So, like, it's not that scheduled, but
Mm.
everything gets done, and I don't know if that's, like, an annoying answer,
Mhm.
um, but if I'm not feeling inspired, sitting down and like, looking at my screen is not gonna help me.
Mhm.
So I wait to, like, shift my energy so that I do feel inspired, and that part of
Mhm.
that is, like, going outside,
Mhm.
cooking, going to the gym,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, "Oh, I have the idea for my workshop," or, like, "Oh,
Mm.
I have the idea for this post." Instead of just, like, sitting in it, like, movement really helps for me.
Mhm.
Um, and then what else? I do have, like, Zoom and client meetings and, like, group calls, so I will try to book those on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then Tuesday is Precious Tuesday, so Matt always has Tuesdays off, so it's Precious Tuesday,
Mm.
so I'll work in the morning, and then we will, like, get a treat or we'll do a house project, so that's, like, set in stone, and then Fridays I recently opened up Fridays to 15-minute consult. So leading up to Cycle Love, I was doing a lot more like one-off consults with people.
Mm.
So like Fridays standing, just kind of open for consults. And then Mondays, every other Monday I do childcare. So it's like maybe I'll be working half the day, maybe not.
Mm.
And but I honestly, Lauren, I am thinking about my business all the time. So it's like
Yeah. But
it's
it's a nice reminder because I think sometimes we can come from, like, whether you come from, like, the corporate world or just, like, a world where you have a boss and it is very much like 9 to 5. You have to be sat at your desk even, like,
yeah,
if you're not, and I was hopeful that the pandemic had kind of, you know, crumbled that structure of just, like, you don't actually get anything done, for your 8-hour workday. You're working maybe 3 hours, but whatever, it's
that's
fine.
the thing.
And so, like,
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful reminder, especially when people are kind of transitioning into working for themselves or like, yeah, wondering how do I set that up? Like that feeling of like, oh, I need to be busy. I need to be at my laptop. It's like, actually, because I'm with you. Like if I'm on a walk, like I need to like bring a notebook or bring my phone, like my notes app, just to like
Yep.
write things down. Or it's like, I mean, annoyingly, it's usually like in the shower or like just like, oh,
Yep.
hope I remember this. I usually don't, but that's fine. Um, or just like in human design, I'm a projector. And so like we're big on naps. And so like lying down, closing my eyes, it's like my brain like sorts itself out. So just like understanding what works best for you is just wonderful.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's not, I don't think it's ever staring at a screen being like, all right, this free workshop.
Let's go.
Let's
I
go.
know. I think you're so right. I think part of it is that like ingrained. Like I was never when I was working social work, I was like there 8 hours a day, but was I working 8 hours a day? No.
No.
Like there's no way. So like yeah, I think recognizing that like my best work or when your best work happens and like trying to emulate that or like I will literally like when it's really cold, I will go to the track. Like this winter I went to the track and I would just walk in circles and
Mm,
answer client messages or like make posts.
mm,
So like I think I would be a great candidate for a walking desk, but like I will I will just like go outside or like just walk
mm,
and that's where I get my ideas. So I think I probably do work no, I think like 30 hours. I probably work 30 hours a week,
mm,
25, 30 hours a week, but a lot of it happens not sitting down on my computer
mhm,
or like a lot of it is like thinking about things or like I do answer messages on the go, which like isn't always good. But because I don't have like my full kind of like work brain on. So
mhm,
that sometimes is a challenge. I do sometimes need to sit down at the computer and like be like hyper focused on things that I really need to think about.
mhm,
But like yeah, I think I don't know. It's kind of all over the place and I think that's the way that I work best. And, like, I
mhm,
do work on the weekends, like, it's hard for me to not, which is where that piece of, like, loving working comes in. It's like
mhm,
there's always something that I wanna do or, like, something that I'm excited to do. It's a matter of, like,
mhm,
letting myself do the thing that excites me
mhm,
or, like, that I want to do and kind of following that
mhm,
thread versus the type of work that is kinda like, "Oh, I don't really feel like doing that." Like, there's always gonna be that kinda work.
mhm,
So on the weekends, it's like, if I wanna do something that, like, is really fun or, like, I have an idea, it's like that's often when I'll get, like, my best, like, Instagram ideas is just, like, when I'm not pressuring myself
mhm.
to do stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's helpful.
No, it is because it's like, I mean, yeah, it's not like you're chained to your desk all weekend or like anything, but just having that balance kind of throughout your week. And then, like you said, having big chunks of time off in the year. Like I know you were off like not all last summer, but you know, like you went camping, you went traveling to Europe and like it's nice to be able to do those things and to like enjoy the business that you're in and create a business that you want to create. Because I think I mean, I don't think there is a right way to do anything. And if anyone is
Mhm.
like I said, I feel like we're moving away from that kind of coaching of pedestal of being like, do these 3 things that I did that worked for me. It's like, but
100%.
I've tried a lot of those and it makes me cry. So I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. Please no.
100% no. And I think too, like, when you allow like, a big through line for my business has, like, really been allowing, like, who I am in my life to be a part of
Mm,
my business. So I think once you do that, then like the 5 weeks that I took off last summer where I was like we were moving and I was traveling and canoeing, like that is where like I got the idea to like do a podcast with Lucia. I was
mm,
like when I was canoeing or like all of that then becomes like part of content or like
mhm,
stories that I tell in my newsletter
mhm,
or like it just fuels me creatively to have experiences
mm,
that then I can like pull on or like bring people into. And yeah, that was tough last year because I wasn't like planning on moving and then there's just like things booked.
mhm,
But like I said, it will never stop me from
mhm,
doing those things. So I just kind of like embrace it as a way to like build on my like content really and
mhm,
like continue to feel inspired. So
mhm,
I think those things are so important.
mhm.
Um
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also important, like we've said a few times, to like keep yourself centered kind of in that story of like, is it, does this method work for me? Is it the right time? Like, even I think of the podcast of you and Lucia. I listened to it a lot in January because, like, just home with the baby, it's like nice to put a podcast on and like, it's like I'm hanging it with two friends. But then it was just like
Yeah.
the two of you were like holding each other accountable to goals and like setting, and I was like, me too. And then I was like, no, now's not the time for you. Now's not.
Now's not the
So it's
time.
just like,
Now's not the time.
yeah, all of these things. It's like wonderful to hear about your business and your story and to like hear how you've gotten here. But yeah, for any cycle coach graduates or listeners in general, don't like don't I every time I would go to a conference, I'd always say like you don't need to implement everything. Pick one thing that like really resonated
Yeah.
and just like let that be the thing that you're like, I like that. I like that she does X, Y, Z, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um maybe some like rapid fire curiosities out of my own brain. But like what's your favorite tool that you've like invested in for your business?
For gym membership.
Amazing. That counts.
It has improved my life. Like, investing in my long-term health and, like,
Mhm,
aging well is the best money I can spend. So,
mm,
yeah, I wanna say my gym membership because it, like, gives me, like, a community, it gives me mental health, it gives me a routine, joy, friends, like,
mm,
everything about it. So, I mean, I feel like that's one of them. Right now, I'm, like, using a tool called Descript
mm,
because I'm, editing a lot of videos for Fertility Knowledge Collective. So, basically, you can, like, edit, um, videos, but by using the transcript. So, it will, like, allow you to, like,
mm,
search for sections by reading the transcript, and you can, like, edit with the transcript. So, that's another one that I've been using a lot lately.
mm,
And then I talked a lot about it on my Instagram, but Lucia got me onto the Focus app.
mm,
So for like yeah, for blocking, it's like an alternative to the brick device. So you basically can like lock down certain apps by tapping like an NFC tag. So I
mm,
just like have it on a piece of paper and like tap it and then I can't get onto social media. And then I just like keep my phone and my little tag far apart. So it's just like a good way to have some kind of balance with my social media. But
mm.
it was very cheap though. It was like $1 to buy the tag. So I wouldn't say I invested, but it's been life changing.
It's an investment of your time, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Reinvestment. Okay. What are you reading or watching that's bringing you joy?
Mm. Well, I just finished Lena Dunham's
Mm,
memoir.
yeah.
Have you read it?
No, I haven't, but I've been following because I know Claire's doing it for her like book club.
Yeah.
And so I've been watching people online reading it, and I'm like, oh, is it good?
It's great. I
Okay.
loved it. I really love a good memoir.
Mm,
So I really enjoyed it. It was very messy.
mm,
And so I'm curious what people are gonna say in the book club. But I've also been on an insane survivor kick. I don't know what has overcome me. But like I never watched Survivor, and then someone was like recommended what did I start with there's 50 seasons. Yeah.
I guess that
And
makes
there's
sense.
50 seasons. Yeah, it's been running twice a year for 25 years. So I watched season 48.
Oh my god.
It was it was so good. I can't stop thinking about it. And
Is it
then
the
I
same
watched
host?
season 49.
Is it
Pardon?
the same host?
Mhm.
How
Yeah, it's
old
wild.
is he now? Like,
He's old. Well, he's like,
okay.
I don't know.
I thought he was like,
He looks young. He's probably had some more
well,
like
definitely.
plastic surgery. So that has been my current obsession. I'm watching season 50 and I will watch it when I do dishes. I will watch it
Mm,
before bed. I will watch it like when I'm folding laundry. It will just like come along with me throughout my day.
yeah.
Um,
Mm,
and I just can't get enough.
mm, incredible. And
So,
finally, what's the next idea that's exciting you? Or like just the little like glimmer of inspiration that's exciting you right now
mm,
that you can share?
I have so many. I have so many. I just booked my flights to Edmonton yesterday, so I'm gonna go to the Wild Roses Festival, and a couple of cycle coach people are gonna be out there too. Kat and Kate are gonna be there. So that's in July, and I'm really excited about that. And then I am just deep diving into perimenopause right now. So I'm just doing like a bunch of like research. I really want to write like a cycle charting focused book on perimenopause one day. And so I'm just really, really digging into that right now. And I'm also have a big, like, it's gonna be Nat versus the weeds in my backyard this summer. So I'm like on a really big gardening kick right now. Like I'm um, already dealing with the weeds in the back. And we have this like massive rhubarb plant that we inherited from the previous owners. We have raspberries, we've got strawberries, and then we're gonna be growing a bunch of vegetables. So that's gonna be like and when I talk about it, I just feel so excited. Um, and so yeah, lots of things, honestly. But those are the big ones.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Conference, cycle
Yeah.
coach gathering, book,
Mhm.
gardening.
Yeah. Yeah. So many things.
Incredible. I can't wait to read your book. I'm so excited about it. Whenever you write it, happy to edit it, happy to read it, write a
I'll
review.
take you up on that. I'll take you up on that for sure.
Is there anything else you want to share before we sign off for today?
I hope it's been helpful for people to it's hard to like answer like it's hard to like look at somebody and be like, how did you get there? Or like, how did you start? Because I feel like so many things were just little tiny changes over time. And like, even when it comes to like my health and just like working out or just new habits that I've recently adopted, it's never all at once. And it's always just like little steps and little changes. And then eventually you become unrecognizable. And like Lucia and I talked about that a lot on the podcast, but it's true.
Yeah.
So I hope people are able to take like one little tiny change or just like pay attention to your energy and how it shifts throughout the day and like what makes you feel really good and like follow that because ultimately that's going to make your business better too when you're in that like really good juicy space. So
what a beautiful note to end on. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lauren.
Chat soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Cycle Coach Show. If you loved what you heard, then please review, share, and subscribe to help us reach more cyclical listeners like you. You can find us on Instagram at Cycle Coach School or online at cyclecoachtraining.com.